As hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the CWA Real World Draft Series here on the channel. We are now recording for the first time since hashtag speaking out happened, as the wrestling world, the garbage in the wrestling world was outed for the whole world to see, much like the Me Too movement, the way it shined a light on these actual human garbage in that industry. Same thing here with the pro wrestling industry. It's always great to see victims of sexual abuse or any type of even sexual misconduct, even to have a platform to speak out, to speak their truth, to not be shunned in silence, and to be shunned into thinking that their voice doesn't matter, that their story doesn't matter. That's from what, yeah, and it was nice to take a break from once that happened to now. It's been about 2 weeks now since that whole started, the movement started, the hashtag speaking out hashtag, and you just see girl after girl sharing their stories, and there's a lot of links between them, obviously, and you have it's not surprising that a business, the wrestling business, that's something that was built on secrecy, kayfabe, misdirection, misconception, that there would be such evil, vile people in it. People that would abuse their powers. So many trainers abusing their powers. People abusing their spot of power, in some cases, i.e., Joey Ryan. And hopefully those people, especially Joey Ryan, that's the biggest case to me, who deserves to be thrown away in jail and locked away and thrown away the key. But for seeing, it's not just obviously with the biggest kind of stake in this, the biggest strike for a lot of takeaways. Chikara, what had been, a foundation of independent wrestling for 20 years, is now a shell because of what Quack had done and what the Chikara Wrestling School had done. And now, people are distancing themselves from Chikara, as they should, obviously, with that. And another, big strike was British Pro Wrestling. What, from Jimmy Havoc to El Ligero. I would throw David Starr in that, even though he's not really in Brit Wrestling. He's kind of like an adopted son of Brit Wrestling, which probably not anymore. As so many people, Jimmy Havoc. Fucking, that's how I got into Progress, was the Jimmy Havoc character story. Way back when 4 or 5 years ago it's been. Probably more than that. It was about 2014, 2015 was when Progress started. I want to say it was around that time. And just like a story of like a deathmatch character being treated as a serious, character, and winning the championship and whatnot, and the promos and whatnot. And now, to the light of this, now it's obviously, now that the light has been shined on these terrible people, obviously you disassociate with them. And same thing here with the CWA. Even in this fictional wrestling company, we're going to distance ourselves, as Nathan Cruz, Jack Gallagher, and Travis Banks, who we'll just bring up right now, they all had allegations thrown against them. So we are going to release every single one of them, no matter how much it costs. Big Dun's a favor of that. Way to go, Big Dun. As Travis Banks, give it to him. Sure, TK Cooper, I know it's tough, but that's what happens when you're friends with a monster. And Jack Eller doesn't care about, sure, we're losing money. Who cares? It's not worth it. So now we have that taken care of. It's it's a shame that so many because women in just society alone are always victims of sexual abuse, almost 96% of the time. There was a case, with a Stacy Carter and Jeff Cornette thing, where a girl was a part of being the manipulators and the abusers of power, but still, out of that one case, tens of men in the wrestling world, abusers of power and abusers of sexual abuse and sexual misconduct. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame, but we're happy, as I'm happy, that we now can get rid of that garbage. We cannot support those people anymore. We can choose our money to invest in other people in the wrestling business. And I know there's some people that even from this just can't even watch, pro wrestling now in the modern day, and they feel, it's tougher, especially the people of my friends in the UK who who grew up, who saw their people of their country, of their even to be brought up into stardom and become stars in the wrestling world, and now to see those people that they admired and cheered for, and even looked up to see them as the light that they are now, it is devastating. But I try to remind people that you never really know what somebody is, even as a celebrity, especially. But you could know somebody 10, 15, 20 years. You just don't know what they do in their private life. You don't know what they do when they're not around you. So you try not to beat yourself up about a judgment of character or anything. You just, when you don't know something, you don't know something. It's nothing you can be down on yourself. I know there, and the people that stepped away from the wrestling business, I get it. I get not wanting to see wrestling, not wanting to watch wrestling, not wanting to be around it. Absolutely get it. When you feel like you've been betrayed, and you feel like, as just someone personally, for me, it was 2000, June of 2007 when it felt like my wrestling world was turned upside down. When at 11 years old, I was informed that one of my favorite wrestlers had murdered his wife, his child, and then killed himself. And you just feel, even at 11 years old, it's such a, it's crazy that like that happened. It's something so young of an age to kind of deal with that. It's terrible. I remember, every day during that whole kind of process, it would be weeks of seeing, Nancy Grace and all. It felt like what I loved about wrestling was just not what I loved about it anymore. You couldn't see it, couldn't watch it. I had to step away from watching wrestling for probably a good year and a half. It wasn't until probably 2009, I want to say, and it was tough. I'd keep notes on what was going on. I'd keep track of kind of from people that were still watching it and watching Japanese pro wrestling or stuff in Mexico and stuff in the United States with the indies, really focusing on the indies more and not really focusing on WWE or anything like that. I just couldn't do it. It was too hard. It's too hard to do it. So I completely, as someone, I sympathize, even though obviously not to compare what happened to me back then in 2007 to what's going on now. Both are terrible, obviously, but it's a shame. It's a shame, but it had to be done. It had to be done that the people of the abusers finally were brought to light, and hopefully will be brought to justice in some cases. On that note, what do we do with this series? This is kind of the main thing I've been thinking about for two whole weeks now. Just kind of like, at first I was pretty like, all right, we'll get rid of the guys and we keep moving forward. Thinking of, Kevin Steen is an ambassador, I think, of the wrestling industry, and someone who would never do that. It's Sami Zayn, TJ, even Morrison, Miz. The guys on our roster. Luckily, nobody in prominent fashion would be on part of that, and it's tough to think about, really, to think about in this, how many people we're going to see that are going to be involved in it. David Starr, for instance, David Starr, and you just have these people, obviously with the British Commonwealth title that we have. I know that was kind of a thing where, Brit Wrestling right now has a very bad image, and is very, a terrible image even. But, looking at our British Commonwealth roster, we're bringing up, we got Pac. Pac wasn't, of course, involved in any of that. Sheamus, Wade Barrett wasn't a part of their scene. They were, way before that time of kind of what the current Brit wrestling scene is. And, TK Cooper, which TK Cooper has kind of been like, you could say guilty by association, you could say that, but it seems like he personally wasn't involved in this. So now, obviously the Brit wrestling, we now have Pac, Sheamus. So we have four people in British Commonwealth division kind of scene. Oh no, we have more. We have Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne's here. Pete Dunne. So we got 5 with Pete Dunne. It's sure, is it a very small number of people now? Yeah, sure. But we could find there's other people in the Brit Wrest scene that aren't terrible people that we can bring in, hopefully. And this is a thing of believing the victims and believing what they have to say, because it seems like almost all of them that were brought up 2 weeks ago, and we're now 2 weeks into the future from that, still seem to be standing strong and standing of where there's no one lied. Oh yeah, Martin Stone, and yeah, we're Joel Redman. Hey, we're doing okay. We're doing okay in the British Commonwealth scene, even with the departure, obviously, of those 3 gentlemen that we will not speak of again. But I think we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a tough pill to swallow that the 2020 scene of wrestling is not great at all. But you hope that you have to look at the positives. In my opinion, I'm looking at the positives. I'm thinking of the people who aren't scumbags. We mentioned the people on the roster, but Bryan Danielson, well, one of the most top level A-class people. You have all the New Day. You have people, all the women of the wrestling world. Wonderful souls. And you have to support what they do, and that's the same thing too. We have, girls like Natty. We have, Trish, Taya, Chelsea Green, Allie. We have all these women, and it's kind of hoping to focus more on those talents now, and kind of less on what had happened with the British Commonwealth scene. It's kind of the plan. We'll see. It's the go-home show for Traditions Never Die. This episode 9. And we do have a card ready to go. For the most part, I think we might have to do a little bit of editing and whatnot. Not as far as, we just only have 6 segments, which shouldn't be a lot. It's 2 matches, an angle, and then the TV intro, which that's 4. So, yeah, we don't even... Yeah, we're going to have to add a lot more than that. So, but we'll skip ahead for the when the card's done, and we'll catch you guys there. Yes, before we get to that, though, we do have a backstage incident. What's going on here? Oh, okay. Just agreeing with that. So I'm passing tips on the cell. Perfect. Alright, now we're good to go. Alright, the show's ready to go. Let's run it. As Pete Dunne defeats Joel Redman in the pre-show. Bitter end. Just gives Pete Dunne a nice little easy win there on the pre-show. As it gets a 50, Joel Redman on the 24, and he was off his game. No surprise there. As the TV intro. Stampede TV intro, of course, as always. We have there. And then to open up the show, we have Bret in his office. As he announces that at the request of Kevin Steen, Traditions Never Die. It's going to be Bret Hart. Oh my god. It's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Steen. Rather that fucking Bret Hart. Don't mind that at all. As it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Steen. The main event for the Canadian Heavyweight title. So we have our main event set in stone. For Traditions Never Die. That got a 63. Perfect. They struggled with the script. As the first match of the TV, it's the Monster Mafia taking on Access. Access getting the win in basically 12 minutes. As Nakajima pins Ethan Page with a reverse roundhouse kick. As Nakajima with a 51, 44 for Go, 47 for Josh Alexander, and then a 35 for Ethan Page. So Ethan Page at least was the right guy to lose. And again, the crowd were turned off by having match outside the breach. Okay, perfect. No surprise there. Nobody's over. As Natalya takes on Beth Phoenix, and this is what a number 1 contendership matchup. So this is to officially announce who's going to be taking on Trish at Traditions Never Die. And it's Beth Phoenix as she beats Natty with a glam slam thanks to the distraction from TJ Wilson. As TJ distracts Natty, and Beth Phoenix gets the win, and she'll be taking on Trish. It's thanks to TJ Wilson spoiling his wife's fucking #1 contendership matchup thanks to his own fucking greediness. As this is backstage, it's Kevin Steen just in his locker room as Sami Zayn comes up to him and he tells Kevin, listen, I know we have our differences. I just want you to know that you got to kick Brock's ass at Traditions Never Die. This is not just for yourself. This is for the company. This is for Canada. We can't allow Brock to be the champion. We can't do it. It's on your shoulders, type of thing. And Kevin just kind of nods. He's just kind of in the zone already. He's already focusing on Brock, even though it's 2 days away. He's still focusing just on what he's got to do to beat Brock. As then we have, before this next matchup, we have a beatdown backstage as No Mercy attack The Miz from behind and lay him out. So that's just, Go and Nakajima and then Tomohiro Ishii beating down on The Miz. That gets 50. As for the match, it's Kenta versus John Morrison, so the leader of No Mercy gets the win with the fucking Kenta combo into the Busaiku knee, as obviously that's just the fucking go-to-sleep Busaiku knee. And there you go, as Kenta with a 47, and John Morrison with a 61, gets a 52. I'm okay with it. So there's Kenta getting the win for No Mercy there, as we're going to have No Mercy versus John Morrison and The Miz at Traditions Never Die for the tag team titles. As then, this is backstage arguing, Natty and TJ. Natty just, why are you doing this? Why did you cost me my match? Why are you being so selfish? What is going on? And TJ just, he's saying, I was trying to help you. He's playing it, where he's he's playing dumb. He's just like, I don't know why. I was trying to help you. That I didn't know that I would distract you. What I was trying to do. Basically, he's trying to have Natty cheat. Natty didn't want to cheat. It cost her the match there. So that's just basically what happens. So they're arguing backstage about it. As to cut off the show, final words. Dark Order, spooky backstage promo. It's in an area that, not in the arena, it's somewhere else. As it's Father James Mitchell and the Dark Order behind him with Brock beside him. As he just, Kevin Steen, love and kiss your children before Traditions Never Die. Tuck them in bed before you have to go to the arena. Give your goodbyes, give your farewells. Because at Traditions Never Die, Brock Lesnar, my beast incarnate, my monster, my deacon of destruction, is going to rip you from limb to limb. And it's going to leave you in a point where you will not be able to recognize your children. You're not going to be able to kiss your wife anymore. You're going to be nothing more but a broken man after what Brock Lesnar does to you at Traditions Never Die. So, bumming that up. Before we end off the TV, that got a 45. I was surprised that did so low, because it was just based off of James Mitchell's Entertainment and Brock's Menace, and everybody else was on Menace as well, like Brody King and PCO. They weren't rated, even though it was Stu Grayson. Interesting, I got a 45, but it is what it is, as, we got a 54. We lost our pop in 20 regions, increased our pop in 12. That's about our average in the 50s. The best thing was the TV intro. Actually, no, the best thing was this promo. Which that makes sense. Sammy and Kevin. Hell yeah. So our go-home show, Chelsea Green, what a go-home fucking shot that is. As we send off for Traditions Never Die, our next event. Second event of the series, and it'll be episode 10. As thank you all for watching, as we gotta re-sign Natty before we send it off. Just to make sure, assuming no one's going to try to re-sign her, but you never know. As yes, we will catch you guys next Tuesday for the Traditions Never Die show. Take care, everyone.